Following primitive attempts at producing mass-market home video game consoles, Atari rose to consumer prominence with their second-generation Atari 2600 console released in 1977. Atari initially enjoyed immense success as a result of continuous software output, aided by third-party developers providing an ever-growing library decimating shelf space from competing hardware manufacturers. Unfortunately, this incredible portfolio transitioned from expansive to expendable in a couple of years, as did Atari's quality control following the turn of the decade, and Atari's decrepit name kickstarted what the Western world recognized as the video game crash of 1983. Eager to cover up their name, Atari thought, "Yeah, we've gone bust. Rather than liquidate our assets and recoup what we can, let's just put more expenses into a gravestone." On the brink of bankruptcy, Atari put a surplus of stock complete with cartridge box and manual into a landfill, and for the next couple of years this cemented a disdain towards video game platforms being wanted in the family home, a reputation so soiled that only a Trojan could defy it. Rising from the tomb Atari had created, Nintendo single-handedly revolutionized and subsequently dominated the market space with their Nintendo Entertainment System console, released to Western markets in 1985. It was a redesigned iteration of the Japanese Famicom system, now bundled with the interactive robotic operating buddy, to avoid association with the recently catastrophic video game business. Customers and company alike were hooked, allowing for the cultural cretin to slowly rise as a behemoth once more. Yet as a hydra, the once cut-off sector multiplied into a myriad of competitors, making frail efforts to come out on top without once again overwhelming the industry for the mutual benefit of everybody. This ravenous competition led many to redundancy, and many never had a chance to grow above that from the start, but ultimately, two companies rose out on top.
16-bit arcade graphics.
In 1989, Sega released their Genesis console with a savage marketing campaign outright insulting Nintendo's inferior hardware. Even their succeeding Super Nintendo Entertainment System console fell victim to advertising ridicule despite being technically superior in almost every way. By 1992, Sega had control of over 65% of the console market, leaving the once dominant Nintendo craving for their own evolution in attempts to produce interactive experiences unachievable on competing hardware. While the Super Nintendo console was limited by ROM cartridges with a mere 60 megabits of space to contain all the in-game data such as graphics, music and level layout, Sega had previously launched a CD reader add-on for their system, increasing data space to 640 megabits. Sega utilized this space with the addition of full motion video and CD quality sound in their games, although this led to little fanfare. At absurd price points with abysmal software support outside of glorified interactive movies, consumers found little interest in this technology, motivating designers at Nintendo to expand upon the hardware within cartridges to provide new experiences for players without having to buy expensive console add-ons. Teaming up with the British developers at Argonaut Games, Nintendo collaborated on a new chip entitled Mario, capable of rendering primitive 3D polygons through the traditionally 2D console. Simply put, the games released thanks to the advancement of this technology were truly one of a kind, impossible to copy on competing hardware thanks to Nintendo's foresight of creating game cartridge motherboards with interchangeable layouts. Nintendo were effectively a generation ahead of the competition with an ever-growing backlog of titles. The only natural progression from here was a war for the third dimension.